Henry doesn't like being told what to do. The other engines thought this made him conceited. "You're just stuck up," James sneered one morning. "You care only about yourself and no one else. What a pity your new shape is. They could have given it to a sensible engine. Like me." He puffed away cheekily. Henry was very annoyed. He was still annoyed when he arrived at the yard to take on water. Gordon was there, getting oiled up for his first train, humming and paying no mind to anyone. Henry wheeshed him. "Careful, Henry," Gordon spat. "Run along now, there's a good engine. I don't need you ruining my first train of the day." "Oh, no, certainly not." Henry ignored him, but Gordon had struck a nerve. "That Gordon," Henry snorted later on. He had taken extra care to make sure the big blue engine wasn't around. "He's been nothing but troublesome all week. All he does is say rude things about everyone. I'm tired." James felt sorry for Henry. "Now that you mention it, Gordon has been ruder than ever lately. I think it's time we sort that out." Henry and James gossiped away for the rest of the day. When Gordon puffed by, they both went awfully silent. He was very curious and said nothing. He knew something was up. "They're talking about me. I know what it is. I'll sort this nonsense. Indeed." James saw Gordon the next morning at the water column. "Hurry up, you," James sniffed. "Hurry yourself," he answered lazily. "I can't if you're here in the way," replied James. "You've had enough water for free." "For free?" Gordon wheezed. "I'm not as tiny as you. I'm big and important, and you're small and annoying. Be off of you, peasant." "He's already started with me," James huffed. "You were right, Henry. That Gordon is nothing but trouble." "Well, what do we do?" "I don't know," James said. "But we better think of something quick." There was no time to think about it too hard, for a long goods train was headed for the other railway. The two engines originally scheduled were very disagreeable and refused to move. So the inspector asked Sir Topham Hatt to borrow an engine from his line. "I'll send Gordon and James," Sir Topham Hatt said. "They'll be able to make it in record time." Unfortunately, Gordon also refused to move. "I'll take it then," Henry piped up. He was looking forward to gossiping all night with James. Yeah, go on then," James rang. The inspector agreed, but Gordon scowled. "They'll make it late," he said. "Look at them. They look silly trying to show me up. I've changed my mind. I'll take it." Both James and Henry looked very red in the face, but the inspector ushered the two engines out of the yard with such urgency that no one knew just what to think. "Hurry up, you!" James said impatiently. He didn't like the way that Gordon was moving so noisily. His mood changed when he was able to whisper amongst the trucks. "He's been cross all week. I think he knows what Henry and I said. What shall I do?" The silly trucks giggled. "So, only out when he's allowed, eh?" Oh, does he whistle too much? Like a toot-toot, like a wee, like a too much whistling like that. Perhaps he puffs too loud, like a chugga, like a puff, like way too loud for my blood, if I had any blood. When my associates are finished babbling around, is he cold to the touch? That might make a little bit more sense, perhaps. James smirked. Well, excuse me, James said bluntly. Let's just say he don't know the ways of a proper engine, if you take my meaning. We know quite well. You've been excused, Mr. Red. It's a pleasure to have business with you. Yeah, well, enough of that, James muttered urgently. He's here. Don't do anything too hard. Gordon slowly backed onto the train. Are we ready? He asked grandly. His light whoosh of steam flicked against James's buffers. James wanted to shake it off. Yes, he said plainly. Now hurry up. The engines were slow to start, but they were soon speeding along the main line. Now, trucks may be troublesome, but they also have a certain order about them. On this trip, the trucks had a queue. One of them rocked, then another, and another, all the way down the train until the last, just as they were nearing Gordon's Hill, much faster than usually allowed. Hold on tight, a rusted truck snickered. The whole train was quickly shunted forward with a jolt. Gordon had overheard everything, and he knew exactly what to do. But James was lost in the middle, and the truck surged ahead while Gordon slowly braked back. Both sides were very strained, as Gordon took control and pushed hard. They neared a footbridge where some schoolboys were taking photographs. Ooh. Hey Ralph, look, it's an engine. Come on, get your camera. Oh, I got it. Gordon's hard whoosh of filthy smoke fogged up their cameras. What, my camera? You fogged up my blinking camera. Oh, wait till Dad hears about this. He'll sue that blinking railway. The two engines slithered to their destination in a very rough but professional manner. Gordon was tired and triumphant. James was just tired. Well, Henry had heard talk from the trucks in the yard. He now knew everything. I hadn't been expecting that, James. On second thoughts, I've got to go now. Goodbye. You've learned the proper way to manage trucks, I suppose. I'll leave you to it. Goodbye, dear advocate. Goodbye. Me with him. Hey! I can't ever manage with you, he cried. You're utterly, undeniably, unbelievably, unbelievable. Huh. I'll be making sure the express stays with me until you learn some responsibility, little James. Ugh. James had too much on his mind, and preferred he didn't say anything at all. Sir Topham Hatt seemed to prefer that too. Those trucks have been playing tricks all day, he sighed. They are silly and don't know what they are doing. We'll get you a warm hose down when you get home, James. Hopefully now you have some sense. James was quietly thankful. As for you, Gordon, I'm very proud of you, Sir Topham Hatt continued. You'll be getting a new coat of paint if you'd like, Gordon. Gordon had already puffed away to the yard, but he eyed the trucks closely as they were shunted away. James and Gordon were alone at the sheds that night. An awkward silence permeated the air. until someone finally broke the silence. "I'm sorry for talking so rudely about you. Thank you for saving me, Gordon. I couldn't have made it without you." Gordon had moved to another berth in the shed. Somehow, just for once, he didn't feel like talking.